Okay, we are recording. So this is a production walkthrough of Melora's Promise by Jake Lionheart featuring Dani, Gage. I mixed and mastered this, and I just want to give you the behind the scenes, what I did, why I did it. So here we have 4 tracks: the beat, which Jake made, Dani's vocal track, Jake's primary vocal track, and Jake's ad-lib track. So let's start where I started, which was with Dani's track, because I thought that was going to be probably the most interesting stuff I did. So we're going to take all the inserts out. We'll take out the reverb. Yep. And let's have a listen to Dani's dry track.
You've been lost, you've been caught in this dark undertow. This cold seed of darkness is too deep to unsow. I can't.
So there's a little bit of clicking in here. So I put an isotope declicker RX7 on it. And then I started where I usually do with most things, is the fat channel by Presonus. So this gives me access to 4 processors, a high pass filter and gate, a compressor of various models, EQ, and a very simplistic limiter. So this is a vocal track, so we cut off everything below 90 hertz for any mud or microphone stand noise. I don't know how she recorded this, so.
This cold seed of darkness is too deep to unsow. I can't tell you, but free you from.
So this compressor I set,
control.
the compressor I set pretty subtly. This is just a little tube color, slow attack, so it's not cutting off transients, and a fast release, so it's letting go of the note pretty quick.
This cold seed of darkness.
And then just a couple cuts in the EQ to take away some harsh frequencies. A little bit of a beefy wide boost in the blow end, and a nice top end boost in the EQ. Next thing was a De-Esser, but from the C6 multi-band compressor by Waves.
This cold seed of darkness is too deep to unsow.
There's a lot of S sounds in these lyrics, so I tried to take away those harsh frequencies. Listen for those S's.
This cold seed of darkness is too deep to unsow. I can't tell you, but free you from this monster's control. This cold seed of darkness is too deep.
And then another C6 multi-band compressor by Waves set to a lead vocal preset.
This cold seed of
just to help round everything up and off and make everything even, because it's kind of a pop style. Then some more EQ. I don't know if you're hearing that clicking. I'm not sure why that is happening, but that'll be something we figure out later. And then the Presonus saturation knob, which is just adding some tube color.
Darkness is too deep to unsow. Understand, sink beneath my waters. My boon is yours.
All right, and then the most interesting thing I did with Dani's vocals is this reverb. So there's a ton of effects on this reverb. The reverb itself is being made by Abbey Road's Chambers. We have it set to a dial cavern preset. I just wanted something, big and washy, because I wanted it to sound. This cold seed of darkness is too deep to unsow. I can't tell. So we have a compressor, which is just sidechained from the beat, so the reverb is actually ducking a little bit under. Then we have a little more saturation for some fun tube color. A EQ, so we're getting rid of all the mud in the reverb itself. And then this is probably the most creative thing I did with the reverb. So this was this is an instance of Helix Native, which is normally for guitars, and I used this Plateau Reverb on top of the other reverb at just a 20% nice low mix. And what that's doing is it's making 2 octaves up in reverb. You can see 20, 12, and 24. So if I take that off, listen to just the reverb. It's just some top-end shimmer. That's all it's doing. And then a binaural pan, which is taking the middle and pushing it to the outsides. So it's making the whole thing wider, which is making the middle sound quieter. Okay, so that is the Dani's tracks. Let's take a look at Jake's vocals. So both of Jake's vocals feed into Jake's reverb, which is used a lot of the same thing, but a different Abbey Road Chambers preset. And then we have the same thing, D-Click from Isotope, Fat Channel, different compressor on here. I wanted a little more compression. So with Jake's vocals, I actually had a 4 ratio.
Cold outside, but he wants to meditate. Just like Caduceus did, he wants to ponder on his fate. He bundles up.
So that echo you're hearing on those words are some event-specific effects, namely the... Come on, show me. There it is. The analog delay, and that's just on where the fate and the side of outside.
It's cold outside, but he wants to meditate. Just like Caduceus did, he wants to ponder on his fate. He bundles up and infers his breath visible in the air. Closes his eyes, steadies mind, releases all of his cares. He's floating, but not
a
like
different
the dreams he's
vocal
had
preset.
Before. He feels warm water like he's adrift from the shore. Opens his
some more
eyes,
vocal cuts.
and all he sees is blue skies.
And last, another saturation up.
He sees a smile and big bright eyes.
You've been lost, you've been caught in this dark undertow, this cold.
Whoa. All right, so let's talk about what just happened there. So when I stopped it, it went back to this part of the beat, which has a automation with the reverb. So it took all that sound and suddenly jumped to 100% mix on this cathedral reverb. So the beat is actually being affected by it. So I used that trick 3 times throughout the track between the transitions. So first one going into the first verse. Then I used it again going into the second verse. But I also added this high cut. So I cut off, the high cut went from almost nothing to, what is this? Everything above like 1.5K. Just a really great beat. And I did that same thing at the very end, except I just left it there so the note would float off, because it was, before that, it was a really abrupt ending. And that fades into the ether, and that's the vocal, or the beat reverb. So the other thing I did is a fat channel on the beat with just a this EQ on it to tighten up and attenuate the low end. And that's that. Okay. And then the last interesting thing, I think it's interesting, that I did is in Jake's ad-libs. I added a auto panner so that it wouldn't land ever in the same place twice.
It's cold outside.
So it's a very slow, it's a very slight depth. So it's not going all the way to left or right, but it's going, it's scooting around pretty slow.
Releases all of his cares.
So that's changing some of the what that I think is the most interesting thing that's doing is probably affecting the reverb, where the ad-lib lands in the reverb. Makes everything a little more less static, I guess. More dynamic, that's the term I want here. And the last thing is this fun little reverse reverberated first syllable of Dani's second line.
Falls asleep, so safe and so sound.
You've been lost, you've been caught in this dark undertow. This cold seat of darkness is too deep to...
And that's it. So that's the mix. Oh, I should probably show the SSL compressor set to Lily White mix bus.
Feel his heart, they ring true and he knows whatever.
Some very subtle EQ. The Abbey Road saturator. The low mix, just a little bit of gain. And binaural pan for a little extra width. So from there we went to the project and set it up for a master. So all that's happening here is a little bit of ozone. So I had the master assistant run. It did a lot of things for me that I really liked, and then I left it there. Some subtle EQ, and then a limiter. And that's it. There wasn't too much going on for the mixing in this track, but I really like the way it turned out. Really, Jake did most of the work with that beat.
Outside, but he wants to meditate, just like Caduceus did. He wants to ponder on his fate. He bundles up in furs, his breath visible in the air.
Yeah, that's the walkthrough. Thank you for watching.